Imagine waking up one morning in the year 2039, and the unthinkable is already happening. No warnings. No long speeches from politicians. No time to prepare. Just breaking news alerts lighting up every screen, coordinated military action detected on both U.S. borders. To the north, Canada. To the south, Mexico. Two neighboring countries. Two allies. Now moving at the same time. And the question that grips the entire world is simple: what actually happens next? Let's skip the politics. Let's skip the "how did we get here?" Because in moments like this, none of that matters. What matters is power, timing, and survival. The United States is, without question, the dominant force in North America. Its military is massive. Over 1 million active personnel. Advanced stealth aircraft. Next-generation weapons systems already being tested. A navy that can project power across the globe. And beyond that? A population where millions are armed and trained. But this isn't a one-sided story. Canada may be smaller, but it's not weak. Its military is highly trained, modern, and disciplined. Equipped with advanced fighter jets and specialized Arctic units designed for extreme environments. They don't rely on size. They rely on precision. Mexico is different. It brings numbers. Hundreds of thousands of personnel. Expanding drone programs. Flexible ground units. But it lacks the same level of heavy equipment and advanced air power. Still, in a coordinated strike? Even a weaker force can cause serious damage if it moves fast enough. And that's the key. Canada and Mexico would never try to defeat the United States in a long war. That would be impossible. Instead, they would aim for something else entirely: shock, confusion, disruption. Hit hard. Hit fast. And create chaos before the U.S. can fully respond. So how could that actually play out? There are 3 realistic ways this scenario unfolds. Scenario 1, the silent north. It doesn't start with explosions in major cities. It starts somewhere most Americans rarely think about: Alaska. Alaska is vast, cold, remote, and critically isolated. Unlike the mainland U.S., it depends heavily on limited supply routes, a few major roads, and key infrastructure like the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. That makes it vulnerable. In this scenario, Canada doesn't try to take Alaska. That would be too difficult. Instead, they try to disconnect it. The first moves are quiet. Precision missile strikes targeting radar installations. Early warning systems suddenly go dark. Then comes cyber disruptions. Communications slow. Signals flicker. On the ground, small, highly trained Arctic units move quickly through remote terrain. Their objective isn't cities. It's roads. Supply lines. Key access points that keep Alaska connected. At the same time, small coastal operations begin. Not massive invasions. Just enough to create uncertainty. Enough to make it look like Alaska is being cut off. And then, the drones arrive. Low flying. Hard to detect. Targeting infrastructure. A few successful hits, even minor ones, could force shutdowns. Within hours, headlines spread: Alaska partially isolated. Meanwhile, in the south, Mexico launches its own operation. Not a traditional invasion. Something far more chaotic. Multiple border points erupt at once. Small units crossing in waves. Drones targeting checkpoints, fuel depots, rail lines. The goal isn't territory. It's overload. For a brief moment, it works. Systems are strained. Local responses are delayed. Confusion spreads faster than facts. But then, the United States responds. And everything changes. Air power becomes the priority. Within hours, American aircraft begin to dominate the skies. Stealth fighters, advanced drones, rapid response squadrons. Canada's Air Force is skilled, but limited. Every loss matters. The US can absorb losses. Canada cannot. Mexico's air capabilities struggle even faster under pressure. Within days, control of the skies is gone. And without air support? Everything on the ground becomes vulnerable. Reinforcements begin pouring into Alaska. Troops, equipment, supplies flown in faster than expected. Canadian units that moved quickly now face a new reality: they're exposed, low on supplies, and cut off from support. Momentum shifts fast. In the south, U.S. forces begin pushing back. Border areas stabilize. Supply lines are restored. Drone launch sites are identified and destroyed. Within days, the initial shock fades, and the counterattack begins. Scenario 2: breaking the lifelines. What if there's no invasion at all? No troops crossing borders. Instead, the attack targets something far more fragile: infrastructure. Modern countries don't just run on armies. They run on systems. Electric grids, transport networks, fuel supply chains, communication lines. And in this scenario, those systems become the battlefield. In the north, key connections are disrupted. Bridges, rail lines, power links. Small, precise strikes, not large-scale destruction. Just enough to cause delays. Confusion. Fiber optic lines are cut. Transformers damaged. Shipping routes disturbed. In the south, the same pattern repeats. Transport hubs hit. Fuel facilities disrupted. Drones target storage sites, roads, and key junctions. At the same time, cyber attacks hit critical systems. Power flickers. Logistics slow down. Information becomes unreliable. For a few days, it feels serious. Markets react. Supplies tighten. People begin to worry. But then, the scale of the United States begins to show. Repair teams mobilize. Backup systems activate. Military protection increases around key assets. And most importantly, the response escalates. Precision strikes begin targeting the source of the attacks. Drone facilities, command centers, logistics hubs. The pressure shifts. Canada and Mexico begin to run out of tools. Missiles aren't infinite. Drones aren't endless. And the US? It replaces and repairs faster than damage can be done. Within weeks, the disruption fades. Scenario 3, the unthinkable push. This is the most extreme scenario. The one that looks dramatic, even on a map. This time, it's direct. From the north, Canadian forces move into Washington state. Small, targeted advances. Their objective isn't major cities. It's highways. Key routes that connect the West Coast. From the south, Mexican forces push into border regions of California and Arizona. Again. Not cities. Infrastructure. For a brief moment, it creates a powerful image. Foreign troops on U.S. soil. Videos spread instantly. Panic spikes. But this moment doesn't last. Because once the U.S. mobilizes fully, the difference in power becomes overwhelming. Air strikes isolate advancing units. Supply lines collapse. Reinforcements arrive rapidly. Ground forces counterattack with precision and force. Drones track movement. Artillery locks down key areas. Within days, every advance is halted. Then reversed. And then comes the decision: stop at the border? Or push further, to eliminate the threat completely? Either way, the outcome is clear. Final outcome, so who wins? Militarily? There's little doubt. The United States holds the advantage in every prolonged scenario. But that doesn't mean it's untouched. Because the real danger isn't defeat. It's disruption. Those first hours. The confusion. The uncertainty. The shock. That's where the damage happens. And in a world built on stability, even a few days of chaos can feel like everything is falling apart. But in the end, numbers, technology, and logistics take over. The attacks fade. The systems recover. And control is restored. But something changes. Because once something like this happens, even as a scenario, even as a possibility, you realize how fragile normal life really is. How quickly things can shift. And how the unthinkable can suddenly feel very real.